Will you all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do have 6 out of 7 here, so let's start the study session. Or is there any public comment? Except for you.
Yeah, for Catherine.
Hearing none, I thought we'd ask Berlin to kind of bring us up to date on where he's at. And
appreciate
answer any
that.
questions. Thank you, Berlin.
Any questions or
You're
not?
welcome to sit here if you want.
Oh, I understand that.
All right.
I want to thank the county for getting behind me on this project of that war memorial. If any of you went up there and looked at it, you can see that it really did need a lot of work. And with the donations coming in, I set a $25,000 on the refurbishing, and we've got about looks like 17,000 of that in a little over a month or so.
Now, does that include the $4,000 that was already in that account?
I don't think so.
All right.
Well, you done pretty well.
Because
No,
I didn't
yes,
even
I
know.
think it does.
Okay.
I think it does. And yeah, right there, because
Yeah.
but anyhow, I'm still I'm doing really good. I just turned a $500 check in this morning, and I think they got some others up there that hasn't been turned in yet. So I'm probably around 18,000 or so totally. And the 4,000 I've kept in there over the years. When Judge Scott appointed me, taking care of that, I never got into that 4,000. If I needed any money, I just went to VFW and Legion, and they give us money to do any little things that we did to it. Because I thought if we had a major deal, we needed that money. And before that, up till then, they always come around to the county, the Legion and the VFW, and ask for a donation every year. I never did. I thought that 4,000's in there. Why keep asking for money and just leaving it sit there? I said, when we need something, I'll come and ask for a donation. And that's been probably, I don't know, well over 10 years, 12 maybe. So I would like to ask for a donation from the county on that memorial, and it doesn't have to be anything big, but I just asked for you guys to think about it and give us a little donation on that. I'm sure the residents would be like that too. But guys, I've been getting phone calls, notes in the mail about this, and it's been super. I mean, just super. And I've already spent $2,294 of that toward the names. He's working on them already, and that's a big project. There's about 5,000 names on that thing, and he's making every one of them new, and it'll all look the same when we're done. It won't have all them tapes and everything else in there. Some of them you can't read and all that. So I'm really excited about this program, and I'd like to get this, been working on it, trying to get somebody to make those names for about 7 years. Finally found somebody over by St. Mary's of the Woods, and he's got the machinery and the stuff to do it. It's high tech, and it's unbelievable, and it's really, I'm thinking it's really going to look nice. Now the outside of it will probably look a little different, the windows and that, because we're going to vinyl or aluminum and making it so it's maintenance free as much as we can. But Symington's doing the windows for donating all the windows for the wings and everything. And the wings are in bad shape. After we get this project done, I'll probably work on the wings. That's the later from Korea on, and those I'm not very happy with the way they look, and so we're just going to kind of do this in steps and stages and try to get it done, because I want it to look great. I want people when they go up there to look at it, and it will look great. And any questions?
Is there a chance you'd have a GoFundMe on Facebook? You know what that is?
I've heard of that too. I haven't really.
Possibility.
But once I get through this and we do the wings, we may want to do that, because them wings will be another
Find somebody
price on top of this.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yeah. and we'll just go. But the way the county's come through with these donations, it blew my mind as quick as they came. So they've really been behind us on this, guys, and man, I think appreciate it. So that's all I have. If you don't have any other questions, I'll leave you to your main work.
You run for a county board?
No, 10 years was enough.
Just volunteer.
And I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the
This
10
is
years I was on there. But,
If we had a different chairman, it'd be a lot easier.
oh. You'll get by. You'll get by. We all do.
Okay.
All right,
Sorry.
take care.
All right.
Thank you all.
Sorry.
Thanks,
for-
Verlin, for all your work and effort
Yeah,
on that.
Thank you, Verlin. Augie, can you put that on the agenda for the next meeting for donation, and you guys might be thinking or discussing?
Do we have a fund we could take some out of?
We'll find
Okay.
something. Okay. Okay, let me go get, Dirk real quick, okay?
How's everything in your world?
Depends on which one you're asking
Oh,
about.
you got more than one?
Well, I
When you get
inter-
my age, you don't have very many.
In my work world, I interviewed for a job that I really, really want, and I'm trying not to be too hopeful. But I interviewed
What is
with it would be remote.
Oh, okay.
So,
So you
and
don't
with,
have to work,
with,
just
Yeah.
stay home and push
oh,
buttons.
man, yeah.
My grandson did that for about a year.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it would be remote with travel, but travel would be basically south of I-70, so
That sounds
I'm crossing my fingers. There's another one I'm interviewing for, but. this
Go
is
back
not
possibly.
really- Pardon? No.
Okay, Dirk is here to talk to us about the building. We had him check out the idea of maybe sturdy built. I think the question was, what can you build me for less than 30 grand?
That's correct.
Right? All right.
Sturdy Builders basically told us they can build what we were asking for, a 28 by 38 building, basically shell only, for less than 30, $29,980. That does not include 2 roll-up doors. It doesn't include concrete or finished inside, that is just the shell.
Did you find out what gauge?
29 gauge metal, it's got a 50-year rust warranty, 40-year paint warranty. He said it's a class 4 as far as dent resistance, so if that helps you.
And that was not insulated walls?
That's
or-
not insulated, that's just the shell.
Just the shell.
Yeah.
We had them put on a vapor barrier. We'd buy it and they put the vapor, wrap the whole building in vapor, in the vapor barrier. And then,
So we would have to pour the concrete, finish the inside ourselves.
and that would make it more likely to bring it in under budget. We get a
What's our
charcoal.
budget view? 30?
Well, we said around 60
Oh, okay.
would do it. Hello, Andy.
Yeah.
So it would look like four.
What's with having two
Well-
in a row here?
Yeah, it'll look like one
in
across.
November, thought, well, we don't have one this way.
They'll have two roll-up doors and then a walk-in door with 2 windows.
And we'd have who make the doors? They'd be 9 foot.
It'd be CHI doors or something out of Arthur, I think, or Arco, wherever they're at over there. And Alco probably put them in there out of Oakland, they do work for us on our doors.
Rifle's good. So the water and gas lines already out there, whatever.
Yeah, everything else, this is just, yeah.
That sounds pretty good to me. Yeah, it does.
Well, I thought that since we were all here, and I just found out about this morning, I thought Russ was here a little earlier and asked some questions, and so I thought we might as well hear about the whole thing together rather than just the building committee.
I guess, what's the 2 roll-up doors for?
Where you park your van.
I thought
There'll be
it
a
was
walk-in door and then 2 roll-up doors.
Why do you need 2?
Yeah, that's what I did.
That was the design, I'm just following off what Jim Moorcraft drew.
You might check that, we may not
We can
need
check
it.
that, yeah, we can cut that back to 1 if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Say we don't.
I didn't even think about that, thanks, Carl, because I thought we were just gonna have 1 door.
that's what I mean, I never saw the plans, but I mean, why you need 2 when you just got a van, full-on van?
You wouldn't need any deliveries with the van in there. I guess you could pull the van out if that was something to do with it.
I don't
Can you check that then?
Sure.
Yeah, really cool, dude.
I wouldn't think that changed anything. They'll just omit it
So,
and see
once
what
they get the shell up, who's gonna like put drywall up?
We will.
You got all the,
Jim,
The maintenance crew will work on that. I mean, if you guys want it drywalled, or I don't know if you're gonna put metal inside too. You
I don't know
That's been
what-
discussed.
I didn't know whether the plan was, I thought it was, the plan was for you to finish it all, but I didn't know for sure.
Well, we're running into people now to do the concrete and stuff, so we're just trying to find a way to get the shell up.
Right,
And
for
then we can
winter.
start on the inside. They
Right.
said they could probably do that this winter, since we've got a good place to work. I mean, we've talked to Graver Post Buildings, they said it'd be next summer before they
They
could
have.
do one. And we haven't got a quote out of them anyway, that's just what the
Right.
guy told us on the phone.
Yeah,
Well, this sounds good to me.
Yeah, I'd probably metal line out, but bays outside.
Metal line,
would you?
bays and drywall the office.
Rather than drywall.
I would.
I would too.
that's up to,
Yeah, that's it.
See what he- I guess-
so if you have to power wash it or something, you know.
Yeah, you can clean it up real easy that way
Right.
versus drywall
Yeah,
to get a, down the road you get a leak or something.
yeah.
you can consult with the building committee on that stuff, okay? Keep them up to date. I just included everybody because we were here.
Yeah.
That way everybody's on the same page. Anything else for Dirk?
No.
Thanks, Dirk. Thank you, guys. Well, you got here just in time, Andy.
Just in time to ask a question. Okay.
So,
Get my emails this morning, see what,
I'll skip.
I've got a, yeah, skip me for
Know how to
mine.
turn it off.
How about you now, Dan, since you've got everything
Yeah,
under control, what's going
Everything's
on?
under control. Now, Andrew's son's got COVID, so she's quarantined for 14 days. Talked to her the other evening. She's still planning on going in the evening, get her paperwork done. Linda's kind of paranoid about COVID, so I don't think they could be together out there at the same time.
Let's
So
them to work
she's gonna
out.
work something out where Linda's gonna work extra during the day, and then Andy's going in the evening, to do the paperwork and so forth, so 14 days of quarantines. She supposedly called Pam to set up how it's gonna be on
That's fine.
the page.
Just want to make sure that it was, everything was laid out okay.
Right.
All
I
right.
think so. And she's working on the voucher system, but she's having trouble getting cooperation with the veterinarians in Edgar County, so I don't know what we're gonna do, so.
Well,
We're working on it.
still think that if you don't, and I think Carl and I don't know who all, I can't remember, that was a month or two ago. If you don't get any cooperation out of local vets, go east.
Yeah, she.
There's no problem with us
She's
spending
got that
money
taken care
east.
of. I mean, we can go
Okay.
to the guy that has a house out here on Lower T.
What works,
Yeah, right, and has a veterinary clinic in Terre Haute, so he will work with us.
right,
The trouble is, if somebody has a animal that needs fixed and doesn't have transportation, then there's a problem.
well, maybe we can
We'll
figure
work
out.
something out.
Right.
Right. I'll be willing to take them over if I have to, but as long as they're in a cage. Yeah.
Stay away from your cats.
Right. Gary had a nice article last week in the paper about me being threatened down on a cat place. You read that? It's in the paper. Thank you, Gary, I appreciate that article.
Was that in the sports section or where was that?
It was in the obituary. It was a nice article. Did you read it?
No, I
gotta
didn't.
read it.
I read it.
You read it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll go read it here when it's
Okay.
sitting out there.
Good article.
Mary threw the paper out already, so I didn't get a chance to read it.
Well, it's about the only good article in there.
Ooh.
You
think?
I'm just kidding.
He kids a
Gary,
lot.
I should say Gary writes one of the good articles in there.
So he's
That,
an article.
that may save you.
You're,
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it.
So
Russ,
I,
you, oh, sorry.
after the meeting, I mentioned the other day, going to talk to Edgar County vet. The
Yeah.
next day I went there, and Andrea had been there the day before
Yeah.
and talked to him. And she explained to him how the voucher was gonna work, and they said that would be fine.
but before, like several years ago when they had it, they didn't like the way it was run and they didn't want anything to do with it, but now they will.
Okay.
And I know Linda told me that the vet in Indiana will do 2 a month,
Right, right.
and, but, you know, that's all he can work in evidently,
Yeah,
2 a month.
Yeah, she told me that they weren't they didn't wanna do it, but I don't know. The ones
Well,
out
she was willing to do it, but
That's what I thought too.
But I didn't really ask her, because once she said that Andrea had done it, I thought, well, that's her business.
Mhm, right.
But she will do it, and she explained that Andrea said that they would give a $75 voucher to the
No, we haven't-
people.
No, we haven't talked.
Well, that's
Yeah, we
what
haven't decided
Andrea
on that
said,
yet.
and then, but their rates are $100 to $300.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
depending on the animal, the size of the animal, because that, you know, it takes a lot more medicine.
Right.
So if someone gets a $75 voucher and they still got to pay $300, they're not going to do it. So I don't know.
I don't know, and probably need to ask, does 300 include all the shots also? Like when we took our cats out, it was 150, we paid 50, but 150 was for rabies shots and all that, so I don't know if that.
I don't know all the details.
We need to work on how much we can afford to give
Right.
on the vouchers.
Right. So once you guys get it all figured out, maybe Art can do an article with Gary and then do Facebook so the public is aware of it. And
Yeah, she's done a pretty good job on it, but we haven't had a chance to get together yet.
right now with COVID, so that's going to put things back. So
We'll
keep
get-
working on it. Don't let it.
Yeah, we need to move forward on
No,
it.
we'll get
Yeah,
settled.
good
We've
deal.
got plenty of money, but we
I know
need
she
to
does, yeah.
spend it, you know, the
Right.
best way possible,
Right.
Right.
okay?
No, we'll have it figured out maybe by next meeting. Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a little slow on things. Trying to get hold of her the other time, but I won't go into that.
Okay.
Okay.
Russ? Carl?
No.
Nope.
Nope. Lisa?
UCCI meeting on Saturday.
You went to
I
Springfield.
went to Springfield, so that was the county board officials meeting. And there were about 60 people there, so I don't know how many counties that was. The more interesting session was the retired Chief Justice of the Illinois State Supreme Court, and talking about how,
Rita?
no,
Okay.
guy from Nashville. And talking about just how our system works and how it is and isn't similar to federal. And I need to talk to Kristen Chittick and see about maybe if we could get him up here and focus on high school juniors and seniors. Because it was too dry for all high schoolers, but it was good information. And he's a good speaker. He's not entertaining, but he's a very good speaker. And the other one was all focused on renewable energy, 2 speakers. The second one works for IEA, which is connected to White Construction. I did learn some good information, which more of what I learned, I was telling Russ about this, that is, more of what I learned had to do with developing a good ordinance, but also the road use agreement. And you don't know whether it's representative or not, but 2 different counties members spoke, and they talked about road use agreements, and they ended up not having problems, but it sounds like they also have very good ones, and I don't know who it was that built these. So, you know, what we hear about from Douglas County, while it is very true, it may not be representative of what usually happens. But I did get some good information that I would share with Aaron if we get to that point, for either solar or wind.
How's the wind, or solar coming?
The solar, well, I worked on it till midnight last night, because I learned more, and I put a lot more in about tile. So it will be ready, and Russ and Derek will get it by Wednesday. And I will tell you, it is a lot of content. It's way too early for me to try to make it pretty or official looking, but I know that Farm Bureau wants to get it for you yet
Yeah,
too.
what?
Did they look at the wind one?
Yeah, they shipped it over to the state.
Okay, so they looked at it after we passed, when did they do that?
In the interim, we kept sending them versions over,
Yeah.
and then their attorney that came down and talked to the group as a whole way before, reviewed it and made suggestions.
Okay.
And their main suggestion was always that the county be responsible for the decommissioning. And of course, our attorney goes, no, you don't want to do that, so they were conflicted on that. That was the only point that they were conflicted on.
Well, I will unfortunately have Russ and Derek on a quick timeline to bring me feedback, I know, I'm sorry, feedback, and we'll get that to you.
That's fine.
The solar farm in Kansas, they have any type of thing, what's gonna happen to the panels? I mean, do they have any, whatever you call it, like we're working on?
Decommissioning.
Yeah,
I
have
don't know.
anything like that, or you ever seen their thing for the project and everything would be law?
I don't even think they have a solar ordinance over there.
That's what I
Well,
was asking, they don't have
If
an
you
ordinance.
Google, you can find everybody's solar ordinances, and there isn't one for them, and I thought, I need to.
That's kind of
go over
odd,
there.
not to have an ordinance.
Not
You don't have to have
necessarily,
an
you
ordinance.
don't have to have one, no.
If you
I think
don't,
you'd
it's
have to,
Wild
but-
West.
Then it's-
I have one.
Then it doesn't revert to the Wild West. It reverts back to what the state has as the minimum standards in the Department of Agriculture, which may or may not represent what you as local folks would like to have
Right.
happen. That's why it's better to have,
Yeah, I agree.
you know,
And I-
something like
yeah.
that doesn't fit everybody.
And I've read that, and there are some standards, but it doesn't address a lot of the details that our ordinances address.
Right.
Does that help?
Yeah, I just wonder, I mean, gee,
It
that-
tends to address noxious weeds, wildlife, that kind of thing, but it doesn't necessarily address all
I
of
think
the
they'd have
things that interest
some type
us.
of decommission, because those aren't gonna last forever.
Well, like the big inverters, I mean, that's a big issue, isn't it? And
Yes.
how that's handled and where they're at.
Right, and I added information in there from Champaign County, and then another county in Indiana had some more details about noise study,
Right.
but it never states, I never found anything about what a maximum decibel was.
See, interesting thing, and if I've told this story before, Mary and I can walk into our room where our inverters are, and we hear absolutely nothing. Alex can't stay, our son, can't stay in that room because it drives him nuts.
Better hearing than you do.
But whatever, I mean, it's a frequency deal.
frequency.
So, I mean, there is something to this, okay? So, and that's kind of a first-hand deal.
Yeah.
Because how can you stand this? So, it doesn't bother horses or the cats. I knew you'd appreciate
Cats,
that,
Well,
cats.
That is important.
Yep.
Well, it is.
But I can't,
If you're a
I'm
horse.
still
Yeah.
studying, still trying to
Okay.
find somebody that can, I have no idea what a minimum or maximum decibel should be. I don't think that it's apples to apples with what we did with Ben. I have
think
no
so.
idea.
I
It
don't
just
know.
blows my mind with all those panels over there. And one of these days, they're not gonna be any good. What are you gonna do? Bury them
Well,
in the
they
ground?
got a few less now,
Well-
because some of the guys, they had to come in, stole some of them.
Well, now they have individual agreements with each landowner, and you really can't get a hold of those, okay? So I'm sure there is, whether it's effective or not,
Yeah.
but there's got to be some decommissioning in those
That's what I was
agreements.
thinking, geez, I mean,
But see, we're not privy to those.
yeah, a lot of panels.
Well, that's huge, that place. They're not done either, I
No,
don't think.
that's amazing.
No, they're waiting for us too.
Yeah, true.
Where I've had a couple of attorneys call me and say, when are we, I said, well, we'll have something ready
Yeah,
in
we have
December.
one attorney that's representing those silos up there, you know.
But then we've also gotta have a public hearing.
He represents.
Well,
Before we
he's got, he's
Right.
got- he's gonna make
ratify it.
money off of this, I'm against it.
And then we have to have a public hearing after we receive
Yeah, he
a,
I
does
don't know, you
represent
would know
some.
that better.
okay, that's what I read, but I'm,
It's
gotta go
just-
back and
Just amazing.
Probably
see it more.
once you got everything ready, run it by Mark to make sure that we've got all our i's, crossed all our t's. Okay?
I was just thinking, they're wanting to come to Edgar County as Kansas, would they have something to maybe stop them from coming so close to Kansas?
I don't know
Or whether there's a state law that you gotta stay away from village, city limits, or,
I didn't find anything like with the wind. I didn't find any restriction like that. I only found it from a dwelling.
Well, you could always call Kirk.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Oh,
I
he'd
mean,
know.
What?
You know,
Yeah, I mean, you could call
Kirk
Kirk.
Allen.
Yeah,
I got his phone.
because sooner or later, he's gonna show an interest and you might as well,
right?
yeah. Oh, he's-
I did.
The one that's coming to Edgar County, is it gonna be similar in size to that thing?
I have no idea. I thought
Or
it
is
would
it
be an
just a
extension.
continuation?
I
Yeah,
thought
they
it was-
just, it stops right at the county
So they're
line,
just gonna make it,
move
that's
east.
all.
Depends on the farmer, if they want.
Yeah,
Right.
if we hadn't done what we would have done, I think they would have been over here already.
Yeah,
And that would have
I think
been,
there's some serious.
the horse
money
would
in
have
that
been
for
out of
those
the barn
farmers.
before we closed the door, so.
Right.
And I want you to know that I got this 2 free Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library Museum pins, and they don't work.
Have you been there?
You know, you're gonna have to declare
Uh,
that.
Me, about 50 times as well. I take kids up there 6 times a year.
Yeah.
That's
2 hours I can get
Where do
eating
you-
lunch and
where do you-
everything.
Where do you park at? That's right on the main.
There's a big parking lot for buses. 1511, that's the number, get out of it.
Okay. By the way, we are having a meeting afterwards, a election committee meeting afterwards, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For everybody?
That's Carl and Augie and I,
Okay.
to talk about redistricting and all that, and making sure everybody, we're gonna have a public hearing.
November 1st, I think.
November
Okay.
1st.
Right, so we're trying to follow the law. We got a few decisions to look at today, or at least recommendations to make. So we also need a quick closed session on negotiations and unions. I wanted to talk about budgets briefly. It's pretty well set. Augie, did you get everything out? Did you get the
I sent
main
those out
thing
to
out
everybody.
everybody? You got it? I just wanted to say that it does include, and the assistant state's attorney was wound up being a little less than what we'd originally budgeted. That's in there. The public defender is in there and correct. The office for the public defender, I met with the judge this morning at 8 o'clock, and they're gonna go ahead and wrap up contract with Ms. Thompson, and they're looking at Cash's office. They have talked to Cash. He does have a pretty good setup. He has no problem with her coming in there, and, right, and they'd rather be on the square. They do have a backup position in case that doesn't work at the manpower office, the old manpower office. We might have to do a little finagling with the structure a little bit, but I think the cash office is gonna work pretty good, all right? Let's see, all of the salaries and hourlies, of course, salaries are set. Hourlies, we've got a 2.25 in there for everybody to match what we're doing for everybody, so everybody's treated the same way, and it's in there. Are there any general questions about the budget that you have? Call me anytime. We can still change it, anytime we need to. We'll have another study session here in a week. So if there's anything you see or are concerned about, please, you're not gonna offend me in any way, shape, or form, except for you, Dan. You would probably offend me. But other than,
I really don't care.
Really?
Taylor
Yes.
Road, I think, our Vigo County School District got COVID money, and they're gonna give a bonus to employees. We don't have that option, do
We live in Illinois.
well,
we? I know that.
they don't call it they call
They
it
call
a
it a bonus.
premium. There's a premium available that you
I'm
can
sure
pay
Pritzker will put the
some
grab on
people
that.
that are intimately involved
Okay.
with COVID.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think everybody's being taken care of adequately, but I'll listen to any suggestion,
I just
because
wondered.
it's not up to me, but I can see if I can make it work with our COVID money.
I just wondered.
I did talk to Michael this morning. They're planning on going to be here on the 15th. They've got their contract with Coles County, all signed, sealed, and delivered. They also got a contract with Colvin's firm to start some of the survey work. They're gonna wait until after the leaves are off to do the outside, but they're gonna start with some of the metrics inside, okay? The closer it gets, Michael said he'd keep me posted, so we knew what was happening when, all the board. I also asked him if, when they're using the drone, to make sure that we knew, so that any board member wishing to go take a look at how that's done and what they're doing, that they might be interested. And so that's it with Michael. He's gonna try to work his trips so he works both contracts at the same time, so he doesn't have to duplicate a lot of effort, okay? Does that make sense?
So question, so is Colvin's work, is he subcontracting?
Yes.
So it's still within that same dollar amount?
Absolutely, yes. There's no increase in dollar amounts. Yes, in fact, that was in his document with us,
Okay.
okay?
Right.
Bob Colvin,
Yeah. You're Bob.
Francis Associates.
My
Well,
Bob
it's
that's
not-
got his
it's-
fingers in every
Yes.
till in the
They sold
county.
the company out, and
This is my Bob that's got his fingers in every till in the county.
He expresses interest in
Yeah, on
everything.
camera.
that
We're on
yeah.
camera, guys.
So I hope he hears that. I'll be surprised if he didn't own a tobacco barn. But just kidding, Bob.
yeah.
Okay.
I've got, on the budget,
Yes, sir.
you have it on page 21, which is the county coroner. On the rent.
I'm not sure why that's there. I thought we had removed that.
I was just thinking we won't have paying more rent to the hospital,
Right.
so that should be removed from there.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they're. Yeah, I thought we had removed that, Carl. I didn't catch that. Sorry.
And then on page 20, under administration, down at the bottom, building lease rent, 6,000, do you remember?
That is supposed to be, neither one of those is supposed to be there, and I don't know why. I missed that.
I was thinking, what, are we renting something
Nothing.
else somewhere?
Oh,
Oh, out at the
yeah, that's what, yes, yes. The Highland Court.
Highland Court, yes.
Right, yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
you're right,
Thank you.
forgot about that.
Well, but we had them both in there and I eliminated one and it must have fallen into the cracks. Sorry about it.
And I was looking through on labor page, also on page 20, we had labor negotiations, we lowered it to 2,000. And I was thinking we had, the contract was up next year, but it's not till 2023.
Just
So-
in that, like,
Right, miscellaneous things. that come up,
miscellaneous
right.
thing is all that I
Yeah.
added in there.
But I
so
thought if it was, we had to do contract with,
that wouldn't be near that.
right,
No.
so, but I just realized that it's not till another year.
Okay,
Yep.
All right.
That's one of the questions I had.
let's see. Seemed like there was something else. Airport. All of the agreements have been made as far as open road and us and everybody. We're just waiting for them to sign off. I don't know whether it's gonna work or not. We're told open road said they can still do it. We can do our part. We'll just have to see, okay? We have a meeting on the 27th with the state to review plans, and we've got a contractors meeting that day for the main runway resurfacing next year. Remember, we're on the older runway of the two, we're gonna put a 1 inch or 1.5 inch lift on it of asphalt. So that's coming up, and also repainting the electronic stuff up and down both sides of the runways. We're waiting to hear final approval. That'll be 100% plaquey, I forget what they are called, plaquey something. at any rate, that project's still going on, and then we've got the expansion of the apron and the extension of the apron into a taxiway that's pending. So we've got several projects. We could just get the one done, we'd be guess that's it. We do have, they started a new thing where we get a share of the fuel taxes from throughout the state, and they divide it up. Talking to Josh, we got the paperwork for last year and this year. It's $8,400 a year, but it's $8,400 a year in taxes that they collect that'll come back to us once we get the paperwork done. And we finished the paperwork on the COVID part of the budget for the last couple of years, and we've got 31,000 coming back out to the airport. So if you look at those two things, 16 and 31, that's what, 47,000 coming out to the airport, so that's a good thing. So we don't have to do anything more than just sign the forms and make sure they're filled out right, so, okay? Brings us up to date on that.
Question.
Yes.
Did the company that did the aerial spraying, didn't you say that they had expressed interest in renting some space out there in the main building?
We, yeah, well, they have half of it right now. And they are looking at expanding at the airport. I asked Tuttle about that last week. We haven't heard any more, but we have another firm that is expecting the delivery of another plane. I can't divulge who it is in public, but they're wanting to rent the other side of the hangar also.
Great.
So we've got two things going. And actually, the firm that's out there right now renting half, they're looking at, like we did in the past, and Carl might remember, well, you might remember also, where they lease a piece of ground from us and they put up their own facility, which, you know, it'd have to come before the board, but we might be amenable to that. So there's several things going on out there, okay? Does that answer your question?
Do we have room for our equipment then in some other
I asked,
location out there?
yes, we do. Yes, because we are, for example, parking the truck and, I forget what else is in there.
Snowplow.
The tractor. But we fixed up one of the T-hangers to do that in a number of years ago. Although it's not as convenient, it's still, you know.
So it works.
Right. And everything's full. I think we've got 1 or 2 people on the waiting list for T-hangers, so. Good.
Is there ever any point where we're thinking about expanding those?
Well, certainly it's on the list. There's no funding for that. You can get funding for the concrete that goes under it, but then if you don't use it within a set period of time, you gotta return the money to them. Okay, so we've been kinda iffy on that the last few years. We're gonna start looking at reskinning and fixing up what we got a little bit out there with some of the money that we have, okay? Because, for example, that 47,000, we can't use it for anything else than the airport, which makes sense, okay, so. Anything else before we go? Yes.
They got the boilers in at the.
Oh, I forgot all
Jay.
about you, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Huh?
No. There's 2 of them,
I went and
pretty
saw,
small look.
I went and saw.
What they took out. But they have got it mostly plumbed, now they're pressure checking. I talked to Dustin this morning, actually, they're pressure checking and getting ready to, nobody's cold, they've got some backup heat and cells and things, but they talk like they'll have it working this week, so.
I saw them there, you know.
They're not very big, are they?
Yeah, I went and saw them after they first put them in. I thought, remember,
Yeah,
I miscommunicated.
Dustin just he sends me pictures and tells me how they're doing their rotation, so.
Yeah, I went down in there. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so, and I'm trying to get a hold, Dustin said he'll help me fill the paperwork out with Ameren to get rebates since we put energy efficient boilers in, and the two of them, so get 2 rebates. I've been talking with basically Smart Water at Centurion now, but he's gonna get in touch with Ray and see what to do about the weather stripping on the doors. That wasn't done, but wasn't removed from the proposal. So I said, well, if it's still in there, then something needs to be done about it. So they're gonna get with him, and hopefully in this next study session, he's gonna get back and see if he can't schedule and come tell us what our energy savings are. Looks like we saved about 4,000 above what they thought we would. So he'll explain it. That's it.
Questions of, and then you guys will maintain contact with Dirk and Jimmy on the building. Okay. Augie, do you have anything today?
No, we'll talk about it at the next meeting, but.
Yeah.
Motion. Samantha.
Oh, I didn't even see you come in, Sandy, I'm sorry. Do you have
Questions?
questions for the ambulance service?
Was nobody killed in that wreck out by 16 at Grandview Road? Geez, boy, I can't hardly imagine. That was not a good one. Couldn't hardly get my bus through it, but it was, this is the 4th wreck in 2 months.
Hour-long extrication?
Close the crops.
I don't know. People saying they're just running that stop sign, I guess. I don't know.
Where is it?
Grandview Road and
They
16.
come up over that hill.
Well, there's the ones that are running the stop sign are going
Coming the other way?
north-south, yeah.
Hmm.
They've had 4 wrecks there in 2 months. Wow.
Is there a fire in North Main over the weekend? Where was that at? I can't say. Okay.
There's certain things, yeah.
I know, I worked out there, I was like.
Well, that's all I got.
Yes, Carl?
With the 911 meeting we had a week or so ago, they've set up a meeting for November 15th, and I don't know whether it's 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, but they want to meet, you know, with
They told me,
the
yeah.
chairman, the mayor, police chief, sheriff, chief deputy, administrator, to talk about dispatch.
Yep. They want to hear it, we want everybody's ideas all together. I think it's a great idea. Dave was telling me, and then I got a call from Troy,
Yeah.
so, okay.
I can't remember the time. Is it 10, 9?
9?
Yeah.
Okay. I also talked to, I talked to the mayor, and I let some people know. The mayor said that the police chief, and because of the situation with the city and the amount of officers they have, just doesn't have a whole lot of time to spend planning what's in the new jail. So, and I talked to Michael about this morning a little bit, and the mayor said that he would appreciate it if they would offer their suggestions and then they would comment on them, and he offered monetary help to do that, okay?
The architects.
Right,
what they
I'm sorry,
recommend.
the architects, yes. So, it's a little hard for them, but I'm sure they have some experience, and he thought they might have some experience with planning on that with the size community that we have. And thought they could be effective, he hoped, okay? Then they comment on it that way. And I let Derek know that also, Derek Weston, because he was the one that was
Right.
supposed to be working. So that's all I have there.
Okay.
Motion to go into closed session for union issues. Andy moves, Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We're in closed session.
Now you can say
Is there
that.
anything else we've come out of executive session. Is there anything else to come before the meeting today? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn. Andy moves. Phil seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And you're welcome,